Welcome to D&D News. I am Greg Tito. I am here to tell you about all of the things that happen around dungeons, near dungeons, with dungeons, and the requisite dragons that go along with them. I'm trying to remember the password to sign into my computer because it went dead just as I went live. But, you know, that happens. That happens to all of us, doesn't it? Happens to me more often than you want. Little fun thing, I usually get a brand new cup of coffee and then stir it as I'm walking here and then put my stir in this area right here next to the desk. Today, I threw out about 15 little stirrers that I had been piling up over there. Apologies to anybody who's been in this room and seen my old wooden coffee stirrers. And cursed my name, for I am Strahd. They're genuine, not to be too. They're not plastic. They're wood and or bamboo. So at least they're biodegradable. They're not the plastic ones. So no worries there. And I am nasty. That is true, Great Grandma Jack. I'm nasty. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We have been doing so many announcements of things. You may have seen some of them around these parts, including this one for Eberron Rising from the Last War. This is the standard cover. This is the alternate cover that will be available in game stores on November 19th. We are very excited about this book. Eberron Rising from the Last War is a huge book. It's 320 pages. It has everything you need to play a campaign, a D&D campaign set in the world of Eberron. It has got so many things that I'm going to go over a little bit here, including one thing that I think is really exciting and that people are going to love, the Artificer, the class. It's actually going to be, when this book comes out on November 19th, the first full class with 3 subclasses that has been released for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition since the Player's Handbook. That's 5 years, people. We have done lots of subclasses. We've done other things. But this is the first full class, and I'm really excited about getting that into people's hands and seeing what they make. Even beyond Eberron, of course, the Artificer works really well with an Eberron campaign. What is Eberron? For those of you who may not know, we've been playing in the Forgotten Realms for so long for D&D 5th edition that I realize we've got a lot of new fans and people who are coming into this hobby who may not know what Eberron is all about. So let me tell you about it. It is essentially a mashup of 2 or 3 different things. It is a mashup of what it was like to be in a pulp adventure, and I mean that specifically an adventure that was written in the 20s and 30s of the 20th century here in America, but also all over the world. That was all about swashbuckling and adventure and in some ways traveling to jungles and the Lost Continent, that type of thing that we touched on in Tomb of Annihilation with Chult. Eberron has got that flavor to it. There's definitely that Indiana Jones kind of feel, and it's mashed up with the rise of industrial things happening in the world of Eberron. But in our case, instead of industrial being run on, say, coal or gas or electricity, as it was in our world, in our prime material plane. In Eberron, a lot of the technologies are based around magic and the free ability that many people have for common magic items as well as common spells and things like that. So there has been kind of an industrial revolution that has occurred in the world of Eberron on the continent of Corvair. The other thing is that idea of a post-war world. So on the continent of Corvair, as I said, where most of the action of Eberron takes place, there was very recently a war that 5 powers vied against each other, and in doing so, they created many different technologies, and wondrous, some of them amazing technologies, but some of them that they are now still gripping with to this day, one of which is the Warforged, which were created by one of the houses, one of the ruling nations, to act as cannon fodder or to be warriors. But they gave these Warforged, these sentient constructs, life. They could make their own choices and they have consciousness. And now that their war is over and the reason why they were created is no longer pressing, they're now battling and grappling with the idea of what it's like to what their role is in this post-war world. So there's a lot of modernity in Eberron that I think is really refreshing for most of us who have associated fantasy with medieval or early Renaissance times. There is a lot of the themes of workers of the world unite and the industrialization of society that's happening within Eberron that I find really fascinating. So another cool thing that's happening in Eberron Rising from the Last War is a bunch of new mechanics. Tons of stuff that you have never seen before in Dungeons & Dragons. There is one of the ones that I've really latched onto and that Jeremy Crawford has told me a lot about and got me really excited is the idea of a group patron. So it is... we've had patrons before for groups, and the idea of a patron is someone who's like a quest giver or someone who adopts your adventuring party or employs your adventuring party for a specific task. Those have been storytelling things that we've used and even encouraged here from the D&D office, but there's to my knowledge, never been actual mechanics surrounding that, or if they have, they haven't been fully fleshed out as this group patron mechanic is in this book. And so what it provides is a storytelling framework for what your adventuring party could be. Say they're a group of reporters for a newspaper in Sharn, or they're researchers or field researchers for a university investigating a specific thing. It could be archaeology or sociology even to a certain type of thing. And then there's mechanical benefits that group patron can give to the entire party. And basically, in some ways function as like a background, like they have a background feature that's associated with the group patron that all of the players in your party might have if they're involved in this organization. And it's a nice way to put your party in a specific place in the post-war society that's going on here and delving with the specific issues that your story as the Dungeon Master might entail. So we're really excited about this book. I know when the Eberron setting first came out, there was a flurry of activity in the early 2000s about the introduction of a brand new setting like this. So Eberron doesn't necessarily have that brand new setting smell anymore, but it does feel fresh for a lot of people, especially since as I said, we've been in the Forgotten Realms so heavily the last 5 years and many adventures that we have put out there. So, quick jaunts into Ravenloft or Ravnica, but we're really excited for Eberron and what people can do within that play setting. Very interesting, and I'm excited about it. So Keith Baker was the creator of Eberron, and famously won a setting contest that Wizards of the Coast ran, I believe in 2003. It might have begun in 2002, but I believe it was first announced in 2003. And Keith contributed a lot of writing to this book. Jeremy Crawford, as I said, was kind of leading the charge on this book and bringing in all the pieces, as well as creating and revising a lot of the mechanics himself. James Wyatt, also an employee here at Wizards of the Coast, and someone who I believe has also written an Eberron novel or two, has contributed a lot of material to this as well, along with a slew of freelancers that we'll be highlighting over the course of the next few months as we get ready for Eberron Rising from the Last War. I showed you guys the covers briefly, but I do have a printout of what the alternate cover looks like, especially with the texture here, so you can kind of see and I'm like trying to get it like to be actual things. You can kind of see the shininess and then the soft touch feel, very similar to Ghost of Saltmarsh is, and I just love this cover and how it brings to life what makes Eberron cool. The airships is a big part of the situation. There's a version of one of the Warforged on the back there. This is the city of Sharn, which is one of the major metropolises, and there's actually a chapter within this book that serves as a gazetteer for everything that's happening within the city of Sharn. There's also a gazetteer for the continent of Corvair in general, and a lot more expanded material from the previous 5th edition publication that came out on the Dungeon Masters Guild called the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron. Just want to give you guys some context, so because we've had a lot of questions about which thing pertains to which, and how much of the material in this new Eberron book comes from that publication, and I can basically say a lot. A lot more is in this new book. As I said, there's 320 pages worth of material with, on average around 750 words per page. And in Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron, the average was around 300 to 400 words per page, and it was around 165 pages. So it was not, there was definitely an expansion of the material that is available in that previous publication, and in some ways there's going to be stuff in Eberron Rising from the Last War that you have not seen in before. Quick note for folks who have purchased the PDF of Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron, we will be updating the mechanics in that document. So anything that involving the Warforged as a race or as the dragon marked races. So I think there's dragon marks for each of the 12 races that are in the player's handbook shown, as well as a few other races and mechanics. All of those will be updated for the PDF of Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron, and we'll have more news on exactly how that will roll out going forward. But if you have purchased Wayfinder's Guide, you will get the most updated and play-tested mechanics with that, and we're really excited about it. So yeah, I showed you the alternate cover there. That is going to be available only through game stores on November 19th. So if you're interested in that cover, definitely go contact your friendly local game store, see what they have or how many they're ordering, and make sure you get your name on the list and get your copy for that. The standard cover, we have been seeing a lot of feedback about that cover. I'll just put it up real quick. Definitely listening to everyone that is talking about this cover. We like it for a lot of reasons. The characters on there, I don't want to go into too specifically, but they are characters that you may know and or have seen before, but we are again just listening to everything that's going on out there, and we'll be talking more of that in the days to come. But we have our ears to the ground and are listening. So thank you so much for all of that feedback. I am excited about this book. I will admit that I've played 1 or 2 sessions in the world of Eberron as a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and those were here at this office. One of the first few games I participated in was Dungeon Mastered by Chris Lindsay during a lunchtime campaign for many of the folks that I work with now. I think Shelley was in that, and as I said, Chris Lindsay, Hillary Ross, and Liz Shue were playing in that campaign. That was set in Eberron, but other than that, I have very little experience with playing with it, so I'm really excited to jump in and see all of the new flavors that are involved there. I think there's a lot more interesting stories that can be told in the fantasy framework, and I like that this product will support more and more of those, so I'm looking forward to it. What about you guys? Are you looking forward to this cup of coffee? Because I sure am. It's my 4th of the day, it feels like, but it was very good. Yeah, I guess, you know what? I just saw someone say about the back cover, and I guess that's true. We really haven't shown the back cover at all yet. So this is your exclusive look at the back cover of the alternate edition, or the alternate cover out there. So yeah, looking pretty sweet. I will say that there are a lot of other things that we have to talk about other than Eberron, but that might dominate a lot of what people are talking about right now. Yeah, Josie, you're craving some coffee? I believe you. So I've been talking a lot about the Jim Zub books. And I'm looking for images here so that I don't get that completely off the chain. Here. So we've been talking a lot about these Young Adventurers guides from 10 Speed Press. They are awesome, of course. and the two that have been released have been extremely exciting. But one thing that I want to make sure you are aware of, it doesn't look like we actually have the image, but we do have this that we can show you. So the Dungeons and Tombs book is coming out soon, and Mr. Jim Zub recently showed off the cover for this. So let me show you what the new cover for Dungeons and Tombs looks like. And you shall see it in all of its glory as soon as I call this up. But I like it. I like it a lot. I was about to press on this like it was a real thing, but you can't actually press on it. Ooh, but you can't actually see me either. So here, let me get it called up for y'all. This was a cool reveal, but I now get to reveal it to other folks. So here, let me see that now. Ooh, don't miss out. There it is. So yeah, that's the new cover for Dungeons and Tombs. This is the third Young Adventurer's Guide. You can download the high-res image of that right there if you really wanted to. But this is looking really exciting. I like, again, these books because they get into all of the different themes and things that go on with Dungeons and Dragons for young readers, or young readers can participate in it just like they can with anything else, but as well as old people. But it's really beautiful, and nice shout out by Von Carellin there in the chat from Jetpack 7 and Conceptopolis. Very cool looking cover there for sure. So, yeah, Dungeons and Tombs comes out on November 26th. I'm going to make sure and add that to our handy-dandy thing here because I don't think we have updated that yet. But I love these books. People have been latching on to them. There's one more that's currently released, or it's currently in the works, and that one is Wizards and Spells. And the planned release date for that is March 10th. 2020. So don't get your hopes out about the fourth one coming this year. I believe at one point we might have said it was coming this fall, but that is now being pushed to the first quarter of next year. Wizards and Spells, no update on the cover for that just yet, but we're excited, and hopefully these sell out more and more, and we get them expanded into a fifth or sixth volume of the Young Adventurer's Guide, because we think they're pretty cool. So the Dungeons & Dragons Essentials Kit is out in Target stores right now. It will be available everywhere. I mean, everywhere on September 3rd. That is not too far away, people. September 3rd is just around the corner. And it is, in fact, 2 weeks from today. That's right, 2 weeks from today, you will be able to get your hands on the D&D Essentials Kit here in wherever you can. We think it's an amazing adventure. I've played it a bunch of times already. I'm running an interior office campaign. I invited a lot of people to it, but it's really just been me and one other person playing, and that's what makes it so fun, is that it is able to be played very easily. You get started and get run off on your first quest within minutes. And the sidekick rules involved in that has been one of my favorite innovations, and allowed people to jump in and play even if they've only got one player and one dungeon master. So it's been really cool, and I'm excited for more people to check it out in 2 weeks' time. Some other fun press things that are happening in the world. So there were obviously a whole bunch of great stories about the Eberron book. Offers players and dungeon masters alike new tools, lore, and character races. That's very true. Polygon says, Eberron, a world with magical airships and floating cities, brings a fun steampunk element to a fantasy role-playing game. We have, kind of not necessarily used the word steampunk because that has a lot of connotations that are not included in Eberron, but, because the stuff isn't really run on Steam, it's only run on Magic. But you could see a lot of crossover between that idea, right? I think there's definitely comparisons that could be made between those two genres. GameSpot says this upcoming D&D book will immerse its players in this war-torn continent, giving both players and DMs a variety of new options when it comes to adventuring, storytelling, and new cities. One of the cool things in this book is the prevalence of tons of maps. I am a big fan of maps. as I have said many, many times before. But there's so much within this book that allow you to create a slew of adventures. There is a first level adventure included within this book, but more than that, it gives Dungeon Masters the tools to create adventures, including maps for things like airships, universities, trains, lightning trains, in case an adventure takes place on a train. All of the terrain is mapped out for there to use, and I think that's pretty cool. It gives you a lot of tools. Hi, Goblin Katie. You made it in before the half-hour mark. That means you might just make it in time for D&D Rewind. That's going to be happening in just about 5 minutes. But I also wanted to highlight another article. This one is in a print magazine. What? They still make those? Yes, they do. They actually do still make print magazines. Not just in Eberron, but here in our world. This is from Popular Mechanics. Yeah, that's right. Popular Mechanics says, why D&D modernized its magic for a new generation of fantasy. It's a 2-page article. It's pretty short. It's only really those 5 columns and then that sidebar about the D20 there, which I think is really cool. This is a fantastic article. Go check it out. It's in the September issue of Popular Mechanics right now. I don't know how many people grew up at the same time frame that I am. I'm trying to say, I don't know how many people of you are old like I am, but Popular Mechanics was a staple of the dads of the 70s and 80s. It was definitely one of those magazines that you'd see on the back of the restroom toilet, or just in the handyman type shed type thing. Popular Mechanics was a very kind of almost 1950s feel to it. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting my own kind of spin on it, but yes, it was a thing. And I think it is really interesting that in a magazine like that, of course, all magazines, change and morph into other things based on their readership. But that readership now includes D&D fans or people that are into games and mechanics and popularization of both of those things. I think that's pretty neat. And one thing on a smaller note, I met with the editors of Popular Mechanics, who I believe worked on this, and gave them a stack of dice that had the D20 there. That is definitely the D20 that I give out with my promotional dice bags. And so it's very cool to see that die being used as a key piece of art in a Popular Mechanics article. I don't know, pretty cool all around. So if you have someone in your life who enjoys Popular Mechanics, make sure you point out to them that there's a D&D article in this new issue, and you can nerd out with them about that. One other. There's lots of fun things I'm going to show you, but I wanted to shout out Goldie Chan, who came to visit the D&D offices. Gosh, was that just last week? No, that was 2 weeks ago when Shelly was out of town on her vacation. Me and Kate Welch spoke with Goldie. She is a wonderful proselytizer for the D&D brand out there, mostly to her audience on LinkedIn. She is one of the largest video creators on the LinkedIn platform, and she creates a video not only for that channel, but for her channel on Forbes, about 3 simple storytelling rules that you can learn from Dungeons & Dragons. D&D is unique in its gameplay as it focuses more intently on how well the game is told as opposed to how well the game is played. And I feel like that's a very interesting distinction, right? It's about the journey, not necessarily about the result. You can't just win D&D and pat yourself on the back. Especially if winning ended up meaning you were a jerk to your fellow players or to your dungeon master, or the dungeon master was a jerk to the players. But fantastic, and she got a lot of wonderful material while she was here in the office, and she's continuing to trickle it out, and we'll highlight it here as much as we possibly can. But if you're interested to learn more about Goldie and what she's doing, listen to the Dragon Talk episode. We just released that out on the RSS feed, Dragon Talk. That's the official Dungeons & Dragons podcast. Pretty cool there. And we will be doing more fun interviews and releasing them into the wild on Friday. I'll go more in the schedule in just a little bit, but I do want to get this out there. We are talking to Chef Mike Harash, a former test chef for McDonald's and a prominent member of the D&D community on Twitter, at the very least. I definitely have seen him attend many conventions as well, so can't wait to meet him in person. He will be coming by the offices, and me and Shelly will interview him and learn about his journey through the Dungeons & Dragons world, and potentially what it means to be a test chef and how he can use those skills at the D&D table. I mean, obviously, you can make wonderful and delicious meals for your players as a dungeon master. They will love you forever for that. Or as a player for your dungeon master. That's a nice way to get some favor. But also just how to infuse food and food preparation into D&D. It's something that I find endlessly fascinating, and I wish more people would do that in their adventures and writing. I think famously, people make fun of George R.R. Martin for his descriptions of dishes in his fantasy novels, and I think Dungeon Masters could do a lot worse than emulating George R.R. Martin in that regard. So hopefully Chef Mike Harash will be able to give us some more insight into that. Cool stuff all around. All right, then I'm only going to briefly put this up there, because if you've been following anything about Dungeons & Dragons over the last few years, you know most of these people are playing D&D already. There's also a few, I think, erroneous people on this list who may not be playing currently anymore, but it is still very interesting to see BuzzFeed do a listicle, as is their wont, about Dungeons & Dragons, and most specifically the celebrities who currently play it. So lots of people on here, people who've had at my events. That image is, of course, from Stephen Colbert playing with Matthew Mercer in the one-shot they did for the Red Nose Diaries. Is that what it's called? Red Nose Diaries? I think that's what it was. So cool stuff there. And definitely point out to BuzzFeed that we need to add Red Nose Day. Thank you. Red Nose Day. Red Shoe Diaries is where I think that was going from, which is a completely different thing. Don't even look at me anymore. Yes, very exciting. Check out that that article and see if you remember any of them. You might be even almost able to guess which one is going to be coming up next based on your knowledge of D&D. Maybe we can turn it into a drinking game or something like that. All right, so one final thing before I get to D&D Rewind. This was a pretty interesting post on Twitter that I found really interesting. Here, and this is the image of it. And I want to make sure you guys got to see it all in its glory. So give me a second, and I'm going to show you what it looks like as I push all the buttons. Okay, so let's watch this. So again, this is how they generated how the map was going to be drawn. This tweet has gotten tons of engagement. So look, it's 41,000, 124,000 likes. Let's watch this video and with all together, shall we? Using TikTok. See how they did it? So each one of those die is what informed the map, right? So that's a city, this was a river, those were a mountain and a lake, and then they threw them out onto the table and then drew around it based on how they all ended up, which I find endlessly fascinating, and I wish I could do this more. Just one quick note, Claire Blackshaw, you are awesome, but were you the oh darn it, were you the and here I'm taking forever to get to this, were you the model for Eberron Rising from the Last War? Maybe, just saying, looks pretty good. So yeah, that is awesome. I wish more people were doing more maps like that, but I am really excited. All right, now it is time for D&D Rewind, and I will push all the buttons until I get to it. For those of you who don't know, D&D Rewind is a way to highlight a lot of the roleplay, or especially funny or exciting moments that happened over the course of the games played on the D&D channel here on Twitch. We do this every week. And we are excited to do it again for this week. So without any further ado, here is what we like to call a D&D Rewind.
The werewolf is hungry. Unfortunately, in conjuring the crocodiles, some of them have become impaled on the spikes. Lupin would call this the cost of art. You can't have everything. You can't have a crocodile pit without, some of them getting impaled. But you can't have the spike without the crocodile, because what are you, some kind of charlatan? So there we are. And unfortunately, that's triggering the werewolf's blood frenzy, so he's not thinking straight. So he's also now a blood-frenzied mad wizard who's dangling the merchant over the pit of spikes from crocodiles. With me so far? Everyone, keeping along.
Windy path you're taking us on.
Been here for hundreds of years.
I do.
So
you should lead us. You're our new leader.
I'm the new. Oh God, I'm the new leader.
Do you know how to fight, Leaf? Do you have any weapons or anything?
No, there's some bar fights that have happened. I've had to break them up. I'm kind of jacked.
That could work.
I'm going to roll insight and see how jacked. I want to see how jacked this guy is. Oh, okay. 16.
He's fine. He's not.
He's fit, right?
He's fit, but
Well, he's not the Rock.
Right, he's not the Rock.
Yeah, he's not the Rock. Okay.
He's more Jason Statham.
He's more Statham's lean.
Yeah, Statham.
Yeah, it's lean. All
right.
He has a British accent.
Yes, exactly.
Just change it.
Yes.
Opal says, "Be careful, don't slip," and reaches into the hole in this hooligan's body and pulls out a bit of blood, flesh, and then leans down and whispers. You see dust coming out from her mouth into his ear, and she says, "What one word? Well, I guess 3 words. Kill your brothers." And animates him.
Yeah, we would fight together, we would slay demons together and serve our Lord Asmodeus.
Yeah.
So what is the cost of a soul, really?
It's just a soul, really. Doesn't really do anything.
Those are the terms. You just have to say you agree.
I'm snoring.
I just whisper, I agree.
Rhiannon, would you like to become a 20th level warlock?
Whoa! Yes!
Oh my god! What the hell? We'll make that for next time. Holy
Merkel. Is that her name? That's an unfortunate name.
Just the god she worships. Death.
She looks at you, blinks hard a couple of times, puts her hands out, shakes her head slightly, and says, "I don't know him."
I don't know him either.
He's dead.
When you say that, Marta looks up and she says, "Oh, did you kill him?"
No.
I hear the word Merkel.
Uh-huh.
And I turn around and I'm just like, he is not dead. And you'll all know that when I allow you to be sent to the grave.
I raise a hand.
So, but hold on, before you say or do anything, there's a moment where after you deliver that scornful line, in the background, we just hear a
I hate the decisions that you've made in the past. They are childish to me, and I despise them, but I never spoke out about it because I never wanted to disappoint you. But I have begun over time to fear that if we do not face the reality of what is truly in front of us, that we will all die. And when I said that in the bar, I meant if we do not face it, we will all be killed. You've never been hunted like I have. You've never been put in the pressure like I have. You are out of the womb in a new world. And I fear if you do not learn to bend, that the world will break you. And today, what I saw looked like a break. But as for you, yes, I respect you because I feel like you're part of my redemption. And you're my friend.
Party game experience. That sounds like something died. Okay. Now, everybody pound. Pound on the boy. Yes! Twitch chat! Oh my god, I can't even tell you how many times I would have thrown myself against that fight if not for you. What a beautiful note to end on. Collaboration truly is the key. Thank you for helping me beat the video game.
Great stuff. Thank you to everyone who is in all of those clips. There are some of my favorite people. Many of them are here in the chat right now. Welcome and great moments all around. If you are excited for more folks to be highlighted on D&D Rewind, one of the best ways to do that if you're watching is to use the Twitch interface. See when a moment really happens, create a clip. It's pretty easy in their interface. You can kind of say a beginning and an end point. Get that URL, tweet it out, get it out there in whatever way makes the most sense to you. Maybe tag in some of the creators or people who are in that scene and get it out there. And that way, Steve Sprinkles, who is editor of all of our D&D Rewinds, will take a look at those clips and see which ones kind of rise to the top and make his decisions on what to include that way. So great way to do it. Thank you. I love that we are spreading I don't want to say attention, but a little bit like that. All the people that are streaming on our D&D channel, it is a huge breadth of different flavors and styles of Dungeons & Dragons. I saw people in here are getting into the English accents that are on display on the High Roller show, and I couldn't agree more. The problem with that is, though, as soon as I started watching all of Mark Humes and crew talking, I would just be speaking in an English accent the whole rest of the week, and no one wants that, do they? No, they do not. On to Adventurers League news. That is our D&D's official play campaign, which means you can create an Adventurers League character and take them to your friendly local game store, Bana UK, or to a convention, a charity event, or anywhere else where an English accent won't be looked down upon, or worse yet, an American attempting to do an English accent, which brings all the boys to the yard, if you know what I'm saying. In Adventurers League news, that is a fantastic way to meet new people in your community who may be interested in playing Dungeons & Dragons, and it is a pretty fun thing all around. Some news on that front. Adventurers Wanted, it is the monthly D&D Adventurers League talk show, is this Friday. That is at 11 a.m. Pacific time. You can watch it right here on the twitch.tv/DND channel. Host and Adventurers League community manager Lisa Penroyes. Oh man, now I'm putting in typos that don't even exist. I apologize, Lisa. Lisa Penrose is joined. I think I was trying to say joined in the middle of that, so my bad. With content manager Greg Marks. That's pretty exciting. They talk about tons of things, and including the latest in the Season 9 rules development and how you can participate in Extra Life. I'll go into a little bit more about Extra Life in just a little bit. And how you can snag cool, fun rewards for your AL characters while all supporting the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Lisa and Greg Marks, not Greg Tito, Greg Marks, will be interviewing Paul Gabat from the Philippines Adventurers League community, which is pretty cool. And that leads me to some images that are out there, including this one. So these photos come from people playing Adventurers League in the Philippines. This is from the Greasy Snitches, a group that organizes many Adventurers League events in the Philippines. The Greasy Snitches visited DeSalle University in Manila to teach the Game Developers Association how to play D&D with character creation, storytelling, and more. Hear more from the Greasy Snitches president, Paul Gabat, on Friday on Adventurers Wanted. I absolutely adore seeing different communities from all over the world showing off their Adventurers League photos here on D&D News. If you want to submit a photo from your group or your Adventurers League event, Here's how you do it. Send them via electronic mail to community@dndadventurersleague.org, all one word there, and put in a blurb about the local game store where you played, the state, country, whatever information you feel safe sharing, and we'll give you a shout out here on D&D News. Make it happen, people. So on the Dungeon Masters Guild, I would like to give you some news about that. What is the Dungeon Masters Guild, you might ask? Well, DungeonMastersGuild.com or DMsGuild.com lets you publish Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition material for fun and profit. It's the only platform where you can publish adventures and supplements within the Forgotten Realms, Ravenloft, Ravnica, or any other Wizards IP settings. There is a ton of great material up on the Dungeon Masters Guild created by you, the creators at home, and it's very exciting. So one of the new shows that Lisa Penrose has been putting up on Fridays at 11 a.m. was called DM's Guild Design Dash. The first episode of that was up last week and last Friday. If you haven't seen it yet, I suggest going to YouTube and or watching it on the twitch.tv player. The 3 contestants had only 15 minutes to design a D&D encounter, and they really brought the creativity and blew Lisa Penrose's mind. I wanted to spotlight a product from one of those contestants, Oliver Clegg, that is unlike any adventure I've ever seen, and here is the cover of it. Killer kobolds from outer space! You get to take on the role of an evil alien kobold marauders using quote-unquote very scientific devices like Grab-O-Matic and green glowing thing in a jar. The encounters and pre-generated kobolds are formatted in the style of a comic book, and to quote the product description, you probably want to buy this before Wizards of the Coast finds out it exists. They will probably ban it, and me, forever. There is also a lot of fun stuff going on in H.P. Lovecraft's in celebration of today, which is H.P. Lovecraft's birthday. The DM's Guild is celebrating with a Cthulhu-inspired bundle of Lovecraftian community creative titles. You can save 77%. Why 77%? Well, you'll have to find out, won't you? Including the great old ones, the deep discounts from the Abyss. So check it out. There is a link that's going to be dropping in the chat very soon about how to purchase this Cthulhu-esque bundle. And you'll be able to experience some haunting adventures, endless madness, and cosmic horror. And then for those of you who are wondering what the interior of Killer Kobolds from Outer Space might look like if it's formatted to look like a comic book, well, look no further. It looks like this. Very, very cool. But unfortunately, he's banned for life. Sorry, Oliver. Anywho, let's move on to talk about some partner products. One of them I do want to shout out. I don't think I have any images for this, but it is very cool. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is a wonderful game that allows you to recruit heroes you know from Forgotten Realms lore and take them on adventures. It's what's called an idle game because you can send them out on adventures and you don't necessarily have to do anything to have them succeed. They will continue to fight those monsters, collect their loot and experience, but if you do click on them a lot and create the right party balance and have interactions with your party that way, you can that's where the strategy and the fun lies. But there's a new character coming out, Vizier the Stellars. Jay, familiar? It is out already, but it's in collaboration with the Take This Foundation as well as Amy T. Falcone, all in support of the AFK rooms at PAX and mental health awareness in general. We've worked with Take This on a number of projects. This is just one of them that I think is very cool. So I also just like getting a bird as a character in Dungeons & Dragons, in a Dungeons & Dragons game. So check it out if you can. There's also Axis and Allies 1942 online. I know this is D&D news, but here's some A&A news. That's available on Steam. It's a great way to play the board game Axis and Allies, which pits the 3 nations and the allies against the 2 Axis powers in World War II. You can play asymmetrically, which is, I think, a boon for anybody in this day and age to be able to take a turn on a digital board game and then walk away and then take your turn when you need to do it next. So check that out if you can. It's very easy to get into and learn the rules of Axis and Allies through this game. So even if you want to play, say, Axis and Allies, the Anniversary Edition, or Axis and Allies and Zombies, playing this digital version of this board game will give you a nice kind of refresher if you need that, or an introduction to those rules, which is good stuff. I mentioned Extra Life in the context of Adventurers League, but Extra Life is something that is a big part of what we're doing for Dungeons & Dragons this fall. It is the 7th year that the Dungeons & Dragons team has been... thank you for clipping that, Jack, by the way. Make sure you show him. I would encourage all of you to participate in Extra Life as much as you can. We love the kids here at D&D, and Extra Life is all about donating money to the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals, and in particular the Seattle Children's Hospital here in the Seattle area. All of the proceeds from what we get here from Extra Life go towards this network of hospitals, and it is really heartbreaking when you think about what it's like to be a kid who is dealing with any kind of medical thing. Most of the time they just want to play, and a lot of what Extra Life is in support of is getting these kids the materials they need to play in that type of setting and to hopefully brighten their days. And I think that's really, really amazing. So I have a page up on Extra Life right now. Check it out if you can. I am right now mostly just activating folks who want to appear on Dragon Talk or allow some words to be said on Dragon Talk. So I appreciate your donations there, and I will be reading anything from that, as well as potentially interviewing you if you donate enough. Those are some higher price points, but we know there are people out there. Sorry for spitting at the camera. But it would be amazing if you donate to that, and we'll, of course, interview you as much as possible and make it awesome. There's lots of other D&D creators out there who have much more creative things on their page than I, many of them involving the Adventurers League certifications for cosmetic items or kind of neat things with their character, and I'm sure Lisa and Greg will talk about that on Adventurers Wanted at 11 a.m. on Friday. So if you're interested, tune in there. But of course, join in and help raise some money for the kids. We'll be doing more T-shirts, similar to this rainbow T-shirt, but promotional T-shirts that will be available for a short time. I think the first batch has already gone out. New designs will be popping up at Custom Ink very soon, in which you can get your own Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus themed Extra Life T-shirts, all designed by Emi Tanji, one of the amazing graphic artists here at D&D. Okay, so I teased on Twitter that I was going to be opening up these things, and I totally forgot to plug that earlier on, but these just came to the office in the last day. These are the Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus Icons of the Realms miniature set from our friends at WizKids. There are 4 in each one of these blind boxes, and there are 45 figures in this whole set. So I'm not sure which ones I'm going to get, but I'm going to open them up and show them off to you guys. These I did already open them, mostly just because you didn't have to see me playing with the tape. But I opened these when D&D Rewind was going on, so they're recently opened, if that makes sense. But I have not pulled out what is in here yet. So let's see. What did I get? All right. So, I'll start with the smallest one. This is an Abyssal Chicken. I got an Abyssal Chicken, you guys. It's so cute and tiny. Oh, I don't know if it'll ever focus on something this small. But look at that cute guy. Aww. Don't want to run into those guys in Avernus, or maybe you do. But that's pretty adorable. I'm glad I got that out of the first pull. Here is the next one. Ooh, this is very tall miniature. That's because it's a Furbolg Druid, with some awesome. I feel like I'm the thing that's in focus and not the miniature. Does that work better? We gotta develop better technologies for that, but I love this. It's a little bit tall, as I said, and the magical effect of the green on top there is very, very cool. All right, so next one. Oh, it's a flyer. It is a spined devil. a Legion Spined Devil. Always good to have more flying creatures, and this one's got like a cool triangular shield. Can you see that? Yeah. That's awesome. I love, as I said, more flying creatures. And then, okay, the big one, you usually get one large figure per one of these blind boxes. This one is a Vagnaloth. Hello, I am Mr. Vagnaloth. It's good to see you. I've got these 2 gems I want to... Oh, no, I'm going to punch you. Very... Oh, I like that he's got like a loincloth that looks like a book hanging in front of his nether regions there. So... good stuff all around with that one. All right, so I've got time. I can open up 2 of these, but do you want the big in or the small in? All right, I'll go with one more small guy. My baby is watching. Okay. Well, you might learn a little bit about Yagnaloth anatomy from this. All right, so I'm going to start with the big one first. This is a Legion Ice Devil. Hello, I am a devil made of ice. And I've got a tail, see? Ha 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 ha. Dead, dead. Okay, next one is coming out of this bag. I think this might be a double. This might be one we have already, and it is, of course, yes, the Spine Devil. Here, we got 2 of the Spine Devils. Let's see what's in this one. Oh, this one looks like a... Let's see, this could be a... Ooh, creepy. Maragon. Look at this one. Can you tell it's got like a baby's face? Ooh, that is really creepy to me. I don't know why. Speaking of babies watching, is your baby freaking out watching this? You can't really see it. It's not that good in focus, but that is like a big evil looking creature with the face of a baby. And that is frightening. Maragon. Nope. Nope. Nope on that one. Ugh. If you put your hand behind it, it will focus? Really? Do you guys see that? Closer. See, but if I go too close, it won't focus. All right. We'll show those more. Get closer. I think you just wanted the baby to get closer so it could eat your soul through the webcam. I think that's what's really going on. And this one is a Babao. A Babao demon. I'm going to try the hand trick if I can remember what is left and right. I like how spindly these guys are, and he's got a cool, like almost like bone spear / staff in his hand there. Very cool. Awesome. We sometimes these work better than not, so I apologize. I definitely had them in focus before, much better than that on there. But we will press on, and I will show you the big one now. All right. So again, this is in the big box, the Infernal War Machine. This is the first time I've actually seen it in its packaging. Ta-da! Ta-da! Ba-bam! What? Look at that! Oh, that's so cool. And this, I think this opens up, or maybe it doesn't. How does it open up? Whoop! Did you like? I actually that was such a weird thing. I saw like my face react in a way. That's not broken. I think that's just how you get into the you can put basically your minis in here that are piloting the Infernal War Machine, and then you can replace it. This is the piece that's supposed to be taken off, you guys, and then you can put it back on like that, and it just kind of clicks into place. These are very cool. Obviously, we showed off a lot of these at D&D Live. There are versions of this in the Platinum Edition that's coming out for Descent into Avernus, and I can't wait to see those. They will have some of them have custom things that you can put on the end here that make it a little bit different. The rules in Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus has tons of different ways that you can customize and turn these vehicles into your own, similar to the way the warlords and creatures of the first layer of Hell and Avernus do as well. So look for this everywhere. I will say this has got like some heft. This is definitely a lot of resin, a lot of plastic holding this, and it is a sight to behold. I really like the weird exhaust, even though it's not really running on combustion engine, but very cool. And then actually there's a good space here. I don't know if you can see, but it's like made for a mini to go in there. So let's see. Hey, here, what is it? Baby Man. Baby Man's in there, leading the charge. It's a cannonball run. All right, so cool, awesome. These soul fuel exhaust. Thanks, Hannah. That makes a lot of sense. Of course, my computer went dead as I was playing with my toys. That happens often here on D&D News. I just want to make sure and check when these are coming out or available. And then I will go on talking a little bit more about the... of course, it's not in here. Talking about the schedule. So one of the things to note, we are not having a new Pelham's Hot Mats, I believe, in 1 minute, so don't worry about that. I don't think so. I think we said we were not going to do that. We didn't have people to sign up for it, but we'll hopefully spin that back up again. FYI, Pelham had been on vacation the last couple of days, so getting that back up to speed to a streaming show was not in the cards for today. I will be, as I said, talking about the schedule here for the rest of the week. So, tomorrow is the chance to watch Roll20 Presents Jace Beleren Must Die. That is a super awesome show that is dungeon mastered by Adam Kobal with players Carlos Luna, TK Johnson, hi TK, Masood Huck, and Katie May will be joining that one. And then if you're interested in finding out about Eberron from one of the main characters who made it, again, going into talking about the covers of Eberron as well as what you can find in there versus what was available in Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron. 1 p.m. tomorrow, Pacific time, here on the twitch.tv/DND channel. Bart Carroll will be talking to Jeremy Crawford, and you'll get all the skinny about what's happening there. We'll, of course, be referencing and reinforcing everything that's happening with Eberron going forward, but that is a good place to chat if you want to ask him some questions. He'll be doing a Q&A, mostly pertaining to Eberron, but also talking a little bit about the most recent Unearthed Arcana. Then at 2 p.m., we are hosting Heroes of the Veil. That's with Dungeon Master Todd Kenrick, players Adam Bradford, Lauren Urban, hi Lauren, TJ Storm, Hope Lavelle, and Jennifer Kretschmer. And then we'll be following that by hosting at 4 p.m. Pacific time, Acquisitions Incorporated, the C-Team. That's the Wednesday. On Thursday, there will be a D&D Beyond Dev update at 9 a.m. with Adam Bradford. Tons of great stuff coming from him. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. is Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, showing off what is going on. They will be having special guest Mike Krahulik, otherwise known as Gabe, otherwise known as Jim Dark Magic, joining that stream on Thursday at 1 p.m., talking about the addition of Jim Dark Magic being a character available in Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. So tune in for that. Then at 3 p.m., Welch's Game Juice will be returning, where Kate Welch will be playing through Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition, hopefully getting ready for a Baldur's Gate 3 that's going to be coming out. And then at 7 p.m., we'll be hosting Critical Role. Then on Friday, again, Adventurers Wanted is at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Tune in for that if you want to find out about Extra Life or what's going on with Adventurers League play in the next few seasons that are coming out. Lisa Penrose and Greg Marks will be chatting all through that, as well as chatting with Paul Gabat from the Philippines Adventurers League community. Then that ends at 12 noon, where I will take over with me and Shelly returning and reuniting for the first time in many, many moons, it feels like. And we will banter the night away and then speak to Chef Mike Harash here in the studio. He's a former test chef for many places. He's just a great chef and a D&D member of the D&D community, so can't wait for that. And then we'll be talking to some folks for some B segment, not sure which, but then you can tune in for 3 p.m. for Binwin Bronzebottom playing Idle Champions. They're going to be off the week following, so be aware of that. Tales from the Mist then returns at 6 p.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/DND. That's with Dungeon Master TK Johnson. Hi, TK. With players Lisa Penrose. Hi, Lisa. Kayla Klein, Hadil Almasari, and Ashley Warren. There will be 2 guests for this first arc with Jen Vaughn. Hi, Jen. And Jason Carl. I don't know if Jason's on the chat or not, but hi, Jason. And that is, again, at 6 p.m. on Friday. Please watch. That has been an awesome show. We can't wait for the further adventures there. On Saturday at 12:30, Geeks Table, Call of the Kraken is going on, and then we're hosting at 4 p.m. at Trace Albus, the infamous Dungeon Master Mario Ortegon. So check that out. And then on Sunday, we've got Rivals of Waterdeep. I believe it is their finale for this season with Dungeon Master Serena Marie, players Tanya DePass, Sharif Jackson, Cicero Holmes, Carlos Luna, and Brandon Stennis. I can't wait for the return of Rivals. We'll be talking more about that in the days to come. Then they are immediately followed by High Rollers Lightfall's Descent with Mark Humes and crew from 12 p.m. Pacific time to 2 p.m. Realmsmith WizKids is Jason Azevedo painting some amazing miniatures. Maybe you can ping him for any questions you might have about the Infernal War Machine during that 2-hour period on Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And then at 4 p.m., we'll be hosting D4 once again, and I'm hoping that there are even more amazing things happening and amazing role-playing moments happening there. So that is with Dungeon Masters Dustin Fletcher. Hi, Dustin. And Devin with players Ethan Mansour, Goblin Katie. Hi, Goblin Katie. Ryan Watkins, Patrick Logan, and Katie Adkins. And they, of course, use tons of fun stuff from our partners, including Waterdeep Dragon Heist, the Platinum Edition, and the Sirenscape sound pack for Waterdeep Dragon Heist, both of which I'm also using in my home campaign for Dragon Heist that is reconvening tonight after about a month off. So I can't wait to jump into that too. All right, so I'm only going about 5 minutes over. Thank you so much for being here. There's always lots of news to discuss, and I'm really excited for it. So you guys are awesome. Please give me a follow on Twitter. I'm at Greg Tito. You can also follow me on Instagram at Greg_Tito. And of course, if you want to find out everything about Dungeons and Dragons, just watch more of this channel on twitch.tv/DND. But if you're hungry for even more than that, download Dragon Plus. I can't tell enough people about that. You can get it on your iOS device or your Android device twice or 6 times a year, once every 2 months. New issues come out with a wonderful array of information and previews of what's to come. So I suggest you check that out. If you don't want to download a new app to your device, you can get that content at dragonmag.com. But then, as always, check out dungeonsanddragons.com for finding out more. You guys are all wonderful. I love you. I'm going to go home and play with my minis now. So I'll see you guys later. Bye. I'm going to attack you. No, I'm a baby stuck inside a suit of armor. No, you can't get me. I will destroy you. Stop. I'm a furbog, and you are in the wrong.